All right, Matt, it is time for our main event of the evening, UFC Raleigh. Thank you so much for joining us. Everybody that joined in last weekend with our UFC 246 predictions, we really want to thank everybody out there. And just as a reminder, I went 7 of 11, Matt went 6 of 11. It could have been better, but we start our countdown timer here. Our championship or our main event, 5-minute timer for Curtis Blaydes taking on Junior Dos Santos. With every main event, we hit it off with the 5-minute timer. And Matt, this is an interesting matchup because Curtis Blaydes, it's hard to find Francis Ngannou matchup at the top of the heavyweight division. It is equally as tough to find Curtis Blaydes a matchup because Curtis Blaydes does not want to face Francis Ngannou.
He's his kryptonite.
Once again. Yeah, I mean, his 2 losses as a pro are both to Francis Ngannou, both of them by finish. And for Junior Dos Santos, since he's come back, he had a year plus just about off due to USADA suspension.
Which he was completely clear of.
Exactly. The air was cleared. 3 quick wins over decent competition, and then he got finished in his last fight against Francis Ngannou. So Francis Ngannou is that guy at the top of the division that you can't say he's a gatekeeper. He's knocking on that door, and he wants that championship belt.
He's about to kick it down.
Well, he's got a tough fight against Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
I don't think it's very tough, but we'll get to that in those predictions.
Either way, UFC Raleigh, you have Curtis Blaydes taking on Junior Dos Santos. And again, you have Dos Santos coming off a loss. Curtis Blaydes is on a 2-fight win streak, wins over Justin Willis and Shamil Abdurakhimov. And if you go back and watch that fight against Abdurakhimov at UFC 242,
oh my God,
he mopped the floor with him. And Abdurakhimov, you can say, is one of those guys that's like a 15-10 type of guy. But he was on a bit of a roll.
Someone had to fight Blaydes.
What a win for Curtis Blaydes. So coming into this one, it's kind of tough because you know the game plan for Curtis Blaydes. Yeah, he can strike with some power, but he's going to more or less want to take you down, get on top, and beat you up. And for Junior Dos Santos, we've seen flashes of the former champion, but what can we expect in a fight like this?
So, when this fight got announced, and up until about 30 seconds ago, I've been telling myself Curtis Blaydes is going to run over Junior Dos Santos. But the more I think about it, Curtis Blaydes hasn't fought a really live opponent since Francis Ngannou. And I use that term just due to the fact it's very much a boxing term, but Justin Willis had no chance in that fight. Justin Willis, his weakness is playing to Blaydes' strength.
Big titty, go home.
Same thing with Abdurakhimov. Abdurakhimov was never in that fight to begin with, so it was really hard to see how Blaydes had kind of recovered after the Ngannou loss. And Blaydes kind of has that perfect style to beat Junior Dos Santos. The only guys who JDS loses to are pressure-heavy wrestlers or massive power punchers. So Francis, Stipe, and Cain Velasquez, and those have really been the only guys who've ever had any success against him.
Some would say the best of all time.
Exactly. Like, those guys, losing to those guys, like, there's no shame in it whatsoever. The fact, Junior Dos Santos, when you look at his record, this is kind of a side note, he's only ever fought the best of the best. Like, the amount of respect I have for him.
Like Tai Tuivasa.
Exactly. Well, okay, not Tai Tuivasa, you know what I mean? Like, he's just fought all-time great after all-time great after all-time great.
Like Blagoy Ivanov.
And the more that I think about it, though, Junior Dos Santos, when was the last time we saw Curtis Blaydes in he's going to win this fight because the guy he's fighting is not good against wrestlers? He fought Francis for the second time. And everyone was saying, Blaydes is going to go out there, double leg him, get on top, and knock him out. And Blaydes openly admitted he let that go to his head a little bit, and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to beat Francis. And I'm not saying maybe he did learn from that lesson, but if you go out there and try to strike for Junior Dos Santos for any length of time, you're in danger of getting knocked out. The uppercut, the left hook, and the overhand right are some of the most dominant punches in all of MMA, and they all belong to Junior Dos Santos. He can knock anyone out with one punch. But the fight against Alistair Overeem that Curtis Blaydes had, where he took him down and he basically hit him with a Mortal Kombat fatality on the ground where he got into full mount and just started elbowing him into the ground. As you can see from the expression on Craig's face, I felt like calling the cops. Like, it was disturbing to watch, and I feel like we're going to see a repeat of that in this fight.
Alistair still has a scar. And think about what they did to his lip against Rozenstruik. It looks perfect, but that scar's still there on the forehead, Matt. If we
they train together now.
Yeah, they do. If we look at the odds very quickly, you have a minus 245 for Curtis Blaydes, plus 195 for Junior Dos Santos. As far as Tapology is concerned, out of 812 votes, 77% going with Curtis Blaydes. Now, yes, Curtis Blaydes is ranked slightly higher than Junior Dos Santos. We've really talked about all angles of this fight, which is a great show on the Loudmouth MMA Podcast Network that you should check out every now and again with Keith Schillen and John Franklin. My point being, Matt, this is a tough one. This is a really gritty main event. I think that the odds kind of make sense. I'd like to see them a little bit closer together because, again, Dos Santos lost his last fight to Ngannou. Ngannou's kind of the kryptonite here to both of these guys. How do you see this fight going as far as, who's going to win this one? And do you agree with those odds right there?
I think I do. I feel like Blaydes should be a 2-1 favorite about just due to the fact that he is so wrestling heavy. We've seen him at Curtis Blaydes' best. The dominance that he's shown is unparalleled. But here's the thing. I'm going to say exactly what I told you right before we started filming. Curtis Blaydes is probably going to win this fight. But if I missed this fight and I fell asleep and woke up the next morning and it was Junior Santos wins by knockout, I wouldn't be surprised. It's just I feel like the wrestling heavy dominance of Curtis Blaydes, he has the most takedowns landed, most takedowns attempted, highest takedown percentage, highest takedown defense in the division's history. I feel like eventually the wrestling is going to get Junior Santos. Santos has that terrible habit of putting his effing back against the cage and just getting taken down like that. And I feel like you're just going to play into Curtis Blaydes' strength at that point. If you put your back against the cage, he's going to take you down. Ground and pound TKO for Curtis Blaydes.
My last point that I'll bring up, if Tai Tuivasa can do that to you, then Curtis Blaydes can definitely do that. And at the top of the division, this is basically how I see it. Daniel Cormier, Stipe Miocic, on any given day, one of those two guys wins.
They're about 50-50.
Francis Ngannou, Curtis Blaydes, and then there's everybody else. Exactly. It's that top four and then everybody else.
Now, here's the good thing, though. That top four is so exciting that it's not like it's a big complaint. But you are right. Those four stand head and shoulders above the rest of the division.
Nobody wants to fight them. And it's commendable for Junior Dos Santos.
Junior Santos has fought all of them except for Daniel Cormier because he hasn't had the chance to.
Yeah, exactly. But we're really looking forward to it. You're not going to want to miss all of the predictions that we have here for UFC Raleigh as well. We're going to have Bellator 238 predictions coming out tomorrow, so you're not going to want to miss that, or maybe you're tired of us, but you made it this far into the video, so probably not. We appreciate everybody tuning in for this weekend, for last weekend with UFC 246. If you didn't know already, you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at CraigAllenFNP, at MattAllenFNP. Let us know your fight picks as well in the comments. We certainly appreciate it. Matt, without further ado, let's get into it.